Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending the regular town council meeting. If you please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And since he's trying to leave us, I'll let Tom give us the invitation.
Oh, okay, all right. Just bow heads and pray. Our gracious and kind Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for another wonderful day, Lord. We thank you for getting up to crisp cold temperatures, and we thank you for the evening temperatures, Lord. We thank you for the diversity that you throw in front of us and the challenges, and we appreciate the way you walk us through them and always take us to the light. Lord, we ask that you'll be with this board tonight and give them the courage and the wisdom to make the decisions that are in the best interest of not only the town, but also in your Son, Jesus Christ. We ask all this in your name we pray. Amen.
The first on our agenda is the special presentations request. The first is an audit presentation from Robinson Farmer Cox and Associates. Mr. Spence.
Well, thanks for having me. First off, I think the audited very well. You received what we call an unqualified opinion or unmodified opinion, which means we believe the financial statements are materially correct. You also received an unqualified or clean opinion on your federal program audit. You had to have a federal program audit this year because you spent about $2.4 million in ARPA funds. So we didn't see any issues with that. That program is pretty wide open. There weren't many restrictions on it, so it's unusual for somebody to have findings with it. Now the audit report itself is, well, it's 77, 78 pages long. No, it's 80 pages long. So we're not going to go through that whole thing. You've got the cliff notes in front. So I'm really going to turn to page 1. And like I said before, we're really pleased with the town's records this year. We didn't have that many adjusted journal entries, and we felt like the books were in very good order. Top line, right at the top, general fund on page 1. And I'm sorry for the small print. As I get older, I realize we need larger print. So I need to go back and apologize for a lot of years of smaller print. But at any rate, in 2023, the general fund ended the year with $4,061,000 in fund balance. Now that was beefed up a little bit by ARPA funds and about $2.3 million. But even at that, you would have had slight growth in the general fund. And you can see where we were just a few years prior, back in 2019, at $100,000. That was too low. We don't want to go back there. But I like not only where you've headed the past couple of years, but where you are today. The enterprise funds, the water and sewer fund net position, is right at $5 million. Now you can't spend all that. That's water lines in the ground, the depreciated value, things like that. So that's just a net value, as best we can calculate it, of the system. Now we do take historical cost and then depreciate it over time. Total cash and cash equivalents ended the year, and that's the water sewer fund and the general fund, at just under $7.2 million. And you can see you had the low figure was back in 2019 of $431,000. I will tell you, included in that $7.2 million is $1.4 million in ARPA funds that you'll wind up spending this year or next year. What we do, we don't get to recognize that as revenue, so it's not included in fund balance yet, but it should actually, you might see even a slight bump next year in fund balance as well, just like you did in 23. Total debt outstanding, $3.9 million. And then I'll list out your pension liabilities and your OPEB liabilities down there. OPEB liabilities, you don't know what pension liabilities are, but OPEB liabilities are post-employment benefit liabilities. So if you allow people to stay on health insurance when they leave, the LOTA program for your officers, that's a liability that they would receive after they leave employment. Debt per capita, now this is just actual debt, the normal kind of debt, notes payable, things like that. Stood at $875, and I would say statewide average for towns is closer to $2,000. It's tough to tell because all the data we get includes these pension liabilities and OPEB liabilities, so it's really hard to know. But historically, that's been around $2,000. And then down below, I'm just graphing out some of this information. What we're seeing with post-COVID, we are seeing fund balances grow in a number of places. We're seeing a few places where fund balances actually declined. That just had a different impact because of the coronavirus. So it's interesting. Your fund balance grew. We're seeing that in most places, but we do have a few places that are actually in worse shape today than they were before COVID. The next page, I've just got your assessed value. And these are not the taxes you collect, none of the assessed values of the underlying assets on taxes you collect. And the one thing to point out, the annualized growth rates down at the bottom for real estate mobile homes, I would expect with the next reassessment, I'm guessing we haven't had one in a little while, but we expect one's coming up, that you're going to see a bump in real estate. That's what we're seeing kind of across the board. You've already seen a bump in personal property in terms of assessed values, and if you've tried to buy a car or a used car lately, you've seen the prices really go up. I would expect that to level out over the next couple of years. So I would expect those assessed values to come down, or at least flatten out a little bit. And then public service tax assessments, and again, you levy taxes against these assessments, but public service corporation taxes are utility companies, gas companies, things like that. They've had a slight annualized growth rate of about 2.6%. The personal property has really jumped. I only had data going back to 2017, 2018 on personal property. The next page is our VRS, really our audit. The VRS asks us to make sure you don't have people in the system. Once they leave the town, VRS says make sure they take them out of the system and they don't continue to make a retirement contribution for them. The same thing when they come into the system. VRS wants us to make sure any new employees are put into their system and you start making a retirement contribution for them when they start working. We didn't have any issues with your VRS testing. I can tell you some places we do. We found that people aren't taken out of the system, aren't put into the system when they show up. But we didn't have any issues on the folks we tested. So you get a clean opinion on that as well. And then starting on page 6, really, through page 10 is our letter to those charged with governance. And if we came in to do an audit and had problems, it would be reported to you here. We didn't have any problems, so you don't have any bad marks. We do talk about some of the significant estimates in the financial statements. Your pension liabilities, your post-employment liabilities, those are estimates of what your future costs are actually going to be. And it's just a present value calculation based on those anticipated future costs. So we do let you know that those numbers do contain pre-significant estimates. And then finally, last couple of pages are just the newer accounting standards that you're going to implement in the next few years. Luckily, we don't have too many, and these are not going to be significant as the ones we implemented here the past 5 years or so. But if you do enjoy reading about new accounting standards, they're in the back of the note. And really, the final thing I'll mention, you have a separate list of recommendations we have from the audit. The one thing I want, and there's nothing major here, the one thing I want to point out on the highway maintenance program, you get money from the state, and then you report back to them on how you spent it. We think you probably spent more than what you actually reported back to them, and you can wind up carrying over a balance. So they'll say, if you don't spend it this year, you got to spend it next year. So we want to report as much as possible having been spent, so you don't have to carry over this balance to future periods.
Is that maintenance money?
Yes, sir. So I don't think we've never had them come and ask for any of that money back. So they've allowed localities to carry over from year to year. But we want to go ahead and show it as spent because we can't guarantee that 5 or 10 years down the road, they don't say, well, if you're not going to spend it, send it back. And if you've got actual cost out there, we want to go ahead and show it as being spent. So. And that's really it. Like I said, I was very pleased with the records. I'm very pleased with where fund balances. Quite a change from 4 or 5 years ago. Quite a good move. And I'll stop and answer any questions that you might have.
Court, if you were to remove the recovery fund out of there, the fund balance would look like what?
It'd be about $400,000 higher than last year. So we flip to that page real quick. So I guess we had an increase of about about $2.7 million.
That's what I'm getting ready to throw a pencil at you. But
Yeah. We had an increase of about 2.7 and 2.3 that effectively, CARES money. So we would have had an increase without that. And that, and you know, at the end of the day, we put a lot of money into the economy, so that's driven some inflation. And those costs are going to be here. You know, once someone gets a raise, you don't go back and take it away 3 or 4 years later. So those costs are going to be with us, I think. We're on a new plateau now. Not from here, I'm not sure, but we're certainly in a new plateau in terms of costs. I'll stop there and answer any questions you might have.
So you said the debt per capita were a little below average for a town of this size.
Yeah, you're a little below average. Now, that includes places in Northern Virginia, and they have, you know, their economic base is much greater. So you kind of, you want to be below average.
Yeah.
We've got about $24 million in borrowing power according to federal reg, but our debt's not, it's really comparable to 24 million.
Yeah.
That's not federal, that's constitutional, federal constitutional.
Well, it might be driven by state code too. I think they limit it to 10% of the assessed value of the underlying properties.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Well,
I appreciate all the work you do.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And my contact information is on the front page of the office presentation. If you get home later, don't call me late tonight, but if you do get home later tonight and you have a question, don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email. Like I probably tell you every year, we're here to help you any way we can. And I said this at one place, I said, don't worry about getting billed the next day. There was somebody kind of rowdy in the crowd, and they said, he'll wait till the end of the month. That's not true. Don't worry about getting billed at the end of the month. If we can answer your questions early, I'd like to get them answered early and help you any way we can. So, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Corbin.
Yes, sir.
So next on the agenda is a donation request from SWCC Festival of Arts. Andrew Day.
Okay, I think this is a donation that you made, we didn't make it last year, did we?
We did not make it last year, no.
Okay, we get the request periodically for funds from the same entity. I just need to know how council wants to proceed.
What was the amount request?
500 was the request.
One other thing I want to point out to council, if you're not aware of it, your budget amendment has given you enough money to buy ice cream, but not lunch. So, just want to caution you with that.
Do we know what the amount is
Yeah.
in that
Food
line?
It was 500, what it says
On the request?
Oh, yeah, how much money we
Oh,
have.
how do we have raised dollars?
No. Wasn't it like 2,900 a couple months ago?
In your line item?
Mhm.
Okay, so in your budget amendments, it went over, so I bumped it back up. And
Not yet.
one second.
While she's looking at that, one thing I want to add, y'all just heard from Corbin, even outside of encumbered funds, when I say encumbered, I mean debt service or the sewer plant, different things, putting away storage, you've got a positive, an extreme positive fund balance. So there's nothing wrong with making plans to move money in situations you have. But I think what you're going to hear from Clinton is, stop.
Well, it should be in Amendments.
We can come back to it if you'd like.
Yeah.
I mean,
While
I'm
you're
sorry.
looking- Oh, you're fine, we'll move on along. So, next is our approval of minutes from the council meeting on November 14th, 2023, and the executive session on December 7th, 2023. We'll entertain a motion to approve.
so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the minutes and the executive session, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the financial statements and financial report from November 14th, 2023. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion. Second. Does that include the amendments?
We'll come back to it.
All in favor of approval, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. Motion carries. Next is our committee and conference updates. Councilmember Davis, can you give us an update on the planning commission committee?
The planning commission did not meet this month.
Next is a department update from Leanne, treasurer. Sorry. I know.
Okay. So in your packet, I did at a moment in time, because this changes every single day, but in your packet, you have a list of our bank account balances. That way you can see how our general fund, our water fund, our sewer fund cash accounts are doing. Our deposit fund is in there, our various subsidiary accounts are in there. Everything is doing really well. And I have gave you a list of our LGIP account balances. And what that is, LGIP is Local Government Investment Pool. And so we are able to invest in these accounts and get a higher interest rate than what we are able to at a regular bank. And it has proven to do very well for us. We get a very nice interest rate from that. And as you heard Corbin talk about our fund balance, what we have done with some of that money is took it and invested in here to let it grow interest. And it has done so since we've invested. And all of those accounts are kind of earmarked. We have a general fund reserved. We did have a sports complex reserve here, an outdoor sports complex study, a hotel project, with a wastewater treatment plant upgrade, and the 460 water project account. And again, those are just to draw interest while we get ready for those projects. The next page, you will see an open payables by date report. As of December the 8th at 9:50 a.m., we had a zero balance for our accounts payable. We actually have a credit with a company of $139.50, but at this moment in time, all of the invoices that we had were paid, and we had a zero balance for that. Our next page is our tax season for 2023, just finished last week. We billed out for real estate $791,000. We have received $669,000. That is an 85% collection rate. Personal property, we billed out $337,000. Personal property paid was $271,000. That is an 81% collection rate. And now, if you notice in your budget, you have a line item called current, and then one called current past due. So anything that comes in now goes in that current past due until June the 30th. And that's the one where those people have paid late after December the 5th, but through June the 30th. And those people will pay their penalty, their interest. And that's where we are right now. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Thanks, Dan. So next is our unfinished business section. I'll entertain a motion for waiving the second reading since Brad performed a full reading at last council meeting for the ordinance amendment to address the coyotes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of waiving the second reading of the ordinance amendment to address coyotes, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, state so by saying nay. All right, motion carries. Next is, for new business.
Mayor, now what you need to do is have a vote then on the ordinance itself.
I'll make
You need to maybe have a vote on the ordinance itself. Now,
Okay.
you waive the second reading, but now you still have to pass it, or it failed, you gotta have a vote.
Gotcha. So I'll entertain a motion to pass the ordinance amendment.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? All in favor of passing the amendment, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, state so by saying nay. All right.
It will take effect 30 days.
Okay, thank you. Next in new business, after discussion with council, items A through E can be dropped. And we'll call on Ms. Reagan again to discuss the budget amendment.
Still looking for the first one that we were talking about? In your budget, it is over by $2,200.
What I can do is email that out to council.
Okay.
And I want to applaud Leanne, by the way, for keeping up with the budget, making budget amendments, and for keeping that budget in line. If you wouldn't believe how many times the department head goes up to see her and comes down crying or sad because they can't purchase whatever they're looking for. So I want to applaud her for that. She's on the spot right now, and I think she's still on the spot, so you can hold off. We'll just email it out, and I'll let council know, and we'll do it via email. We can ratify it, you can ratify it in January.
Okay.
So in your packet, I do have about 15 pages of budget amendments. And this is just where line items may have gone over with expenses, and we're just trying to straighten everything back up and get it back in balance. And I did find it. Okay. On your third page of budget amendments down at the bottom, I did increase it, and you have almost $4,000 more to the good. Do you all see that there at the very bottom on page 3? Okay. I mean, if you all have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
This is something that we have paid pretty consistently in the past, right?
I know that we didn't do it last year.
Okay,
I'm not positive about the years before.
okay. Based on your letter, it sounds like we did.
You have. I know you have, but I can't say we did it the year before, last year or the year before, but I know in years past, Mary Lawson's come to see me.
Well, and it could be that they're just getting it back up and started again
That's
after COVID.
So do we want to go ahead and knock this off so we don't have to push it till next
Yep.
month? I just need a motion to approve the donation request.
I make a motion to approve the donation request of $500 to the Southwest Community College,
4,000.
4,000.
Oh, so Leanne brought that up, right?
Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the donation request, please so by saying aye. All opposed, please so by saying nay. Okay, so that's approved. Are we good? So you're going,
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
okay.
Oh, yeah. I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the budget amendment, state so by saying aye. All opposed, state so by saying nay. All right, so the amendments are approved.
Just to let you know, on the budget amendments, it's not an increase in revenue or an increase in expenditures. It's just a swap of the money within the existing budget.
Understood. So, no miscellaneous unfinished business or new business. Anybody signed in under public comments?
This one can.
Okay. If you could come up and state your name and address, please.
Yeah, Don Buchanan, 399 Adams Street, and I'm here tonight to make it public that thank Todd for his service. We go back a long ways. I was on the board when we hired him. I think David was on the other one. Yes, was on the board. And the town of Tazewell has been lucky over the years. Not had a whole lot of town managers. In fact, 2 in probably 30 years, Jerry Woods and Todd David. And each one of us has faced different problems here and there, and worked through it. When Todd came on board, I think we had about 11 people that applied for the job. We interviewed 3, and I think we selected this candidate at the time. He hit the road running, and we made a lot of changes financially, economically, created the IDA, met with planning commission, never started that. We had his buddy from Bluefield came down and gave us some lessons. He lessons to great times. When Todd came on board, he was lucky to buy a Coke on Main Street. Today, you got many restaurants. You still got a lot of work to do. You got a lot of vacant buildings all over town. They come and go, but you got to improve the economic situations. I enjoyed working with Todd, and I hope Todd enjoyed working with me. I call him my friend. We were great to have him during our time, and I wish him well. I had active contacts in Pulaski, if you want to know something. He always called me and said, "Where can I go hunting at?" I said, "Well, here's the name, you can go out there and hunt." He's hunting coyotes, by the way, so, again, I think the town shows a lot of deference to Todd for his service for the town of Tazewell.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very much.
So as we go into the final section of council member comments,
I have a question.
Yeah.
At the last meeting, there was a request
Could
for...
you come up, state your name and address?
DW. Am I going to say something? My name is Danny Willis. I live at Riverside Drive. So at your last meeting, there was a request for a donation from Back of the Dragon. Was that tabled? Did it go away?
It's tabled.
It's tabled right now. We haven't done anything on it.
At their request, it was tabled.
At their, did they lower the amount?
That wasn't discussed, they just had to pull it for right now.
Did it raise it?
That wasn't discussed.
So about Todd, so
All right, you can let this walk over.
I was actually on the committee to interview and hire the town manager. And it was new to me. It was my first time on council. And I didn't know Todd, but Todd had a representative in the town that he had came to me several times and spoke to me about Todd. And I just said, Mr. Kendra, I don't know. But when I met Todd, I was impressed. I truly was, and like I said, we interviewed 3 or 4, and they were all very qualified. But Todd was the best man for the job. And when Todd took over, our finances were, wow, they were bad. ever passed by. And Todd straightened it out. And, you know, when you're in a position as Todd is, you can't please everyone. You just can't. But he brought us to the front. Last couple of years with COVID, there's been a lot of money out there for COVID. And hopefully, and I feel like a lot of that money's in the bank for us. And we'll use it wisely. I know down the road, probably 2 months ago, they hired a new town manager in at, I think, $150. You know, he's still sitting there, it's not too late. I just want to thank Todd for everything he's done. He bought a house recently, I don't think he'd have bought that house if he knew it was leaving.
Dan, appreciate it, I'll pay you later. Thank you, Dean.
So to kind of piggyback as we get into council member comments, piggyback on what Danny and Mayor Buchanan had stated. You know, Todd was town manager when I came here. And, to say that I've learned more than I ever thought I would learn from this gentleman is an understatement. And as I can attest, we've had disagreements, things we didn't see eye to eye on. But when we got up and left that office, it was shaking hands, patting on the back. He's a wonderful man. I cringe at the thought of going through the process of replacing him because he's done so many great things here, and it's going to be very difficult to replace him. But when he called me on Sunday and gave me the news I was hoping I'd never have to hear as mayor, all I could say was, yeah, I wish you the best of luck. And if, you know, this is moving your career forward, then I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. I want what's best for you and what you feel is best for your future. But I want to thank you for everything personally, for being a friend, being a good mentor, and teaching me how to do this job. When I first sat in this seat, I was like a deer in the headlights. So I really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the kind words.
Well, I guess I'll go next.
Okay.
We'll start from here. I just want to echo what everybody's been saying. It's been an honor and a privilege for, I guess, 11 years to serve on this board with you. I know without a doubt you put your heart and soul into your job, and certainly appreciate that. Took no shortcuts, and I appreciate you for all we were able to accomplish, and also for what we tried to accomplish. Best of luck, and I told you need anything, you got my phone number. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Except for hunting property, I don't think you have to.
I've only been on council for a year, but I would like to thank you for the year that I had to work with you and learn from you and all the different advice you give me. I appreciate it. Thank you
Very much.
And I'd like to echo it. Likewise, I think we'll go down the line. I think it's appropriate. We worked together on the IEDA, and as I got up to council, and just the institutional knowledge that you have with the position and your awareness of, and the ability to communicate. I think that's one of the things that goes a lot of times unthinked with new members on boards, whether it be the IEDA, planning, your diligence and the time that you take to just explain things and give a situational awareness that those members need in order to vote appropriately. Always appreciated that. And with any luck, maybe I'll get up and see you go fishing on Clay sometime.
All right. Thank you.
Skip.
How much you need day off? Just spit it out there.
I appreciate all the kind words.
Well, Todd, you and I have had to meet sometimes. But you always come back and we work things out. You called me to the office one day, and I was upset, and you sitting there and you said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I've been meaning it for a while, but you completed that." But you are a manager that will get out and talk to people. You're a manager that can stand up and crack jokes with other people that would like to see that with the town manager that we have. And need something, you'll find a way of getting it. But I just want to know, I think everybody in town likes you, and I don't know how much you want to see you here. But anyway, I appreciate your, I appreciate it, and I hope that when you go to Pulaski, you think about us. You might want to come back and visit.
I'm sure I will. Absolutely will.
All
Yeah.
right.
You finished, you sure?
I am finished.
Do you want to throw in any groundhogs?
Now you start something.
I would just like to say, I am definitely appreciative for everything that you've done for the town. You've gotten us in a much better financial situation than you found us. I also like to say that I appreciate your seriousness when a situation calls for it, and I appreciate your levity when it does not. And I'm gonna miss coming in and giving you a hard time. I really wanted to give you one last hard time. I was gonna come in and pretend to be furious, but I didn't get the chance.
Still got a few days.
I've got a few days, that's right.
There's some citizens that have done that for you already. Don't worry. Yeah, I probably earned them too.
I do have some contacts in the Pulaski area as well that might know some good hunting areas.
I thought there was several years ago when you got the IEDA started back up, I received a letter from you inviting me to join, and that was really my first experience with public service, and I appreciate everything you've done for me as far as guiding me, teaching me about public service and the IEDA and town council, and I appreciate your vision and what you've done for the town. As the CEO of this board, it's your vision that really drives, what gets accomplished. And you've done great as far as dealing with multiple, turnover on the board and how you deal with different people and getting your vision across to folks and really rallying the troops behind you. It's special what you do, and I truly appreciate everything you've done for me and what you've done for the town, and we're definitely going to miss you.
Thank you very much.
And before we adjourn, it wouldn't be a send-off without the, a gift. So Todd, you'd stand up, come over.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So here's from the town council the token of our appreciation.
That's diamonds on it.
I know. It's solid gold too, sir.
That's all.
Our budget's out of whack now.
Yes, this is why we got all the budget.
Is that reflected in the
This is why. Our brother, I appreciate everything. You deserve so much more. I mean, you do. You've done such a great job at this town.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. One last picture.
Let me know when you're done with something.
Solid gold with 2 carat diamonds.
Okay, now you speak.
Hey, Mr. Daggone, back up.
Yeah, they do. I think Councilmember Hankins has one more thing.
I would just like to thank Interim Chief Stan Lampert, the Tazewell Police Department, and City Saline and the EMS for the wonderful job they did with Shop with the Cop. It was an amazing event. I was privileged to get to assist with that, and I know it come together short notice, and with everybody's help, it was just a wonderful event.
And let's
Can I say something as well? We started off with $2,500 on our line item that the council had approved for us. We ended with 14.3, I believe, or 14.5. And Cindy really stepped up to the plate when she heard that we were suffering. And in 3 weeks' time, we went from 2,500 to 16.3 or 16.5. We had 10 kids that came in late after we divvied up. We had $300 per kid to spend, which is a lot of money for kids. So we were able to give them $300. We had 10 kids that showed up way late, and we knew we were in trouble. We had an individual that had reached out to Jonathan, which he put in contact with me. This gentleman came and was late, thank goodness. His intent was to take some kids himself and just spend his own money on those particular kids, no particular kid in mind. Thank goodness he was running late, because we had those 10 kids coming in late, and he came to me and was like, what do you need me to do? And I'm like, well, maybe in a bind. We've got 10 kids that come in and we've already divvied up the money. And he says, I'm here and I'll take care of that. I said, we're talking about this could be $3,000 plus. He said, I'm here, I'll take care of it. Thank goodness it was only $1,300. That gentleman took care of the overage. So, I mean, it was a blessing in disguise. But Cindy immediately reached out to me and took money out of her budget to put toward this, and I greatly appreciate that. But we did have a great turnout. We had a lot of help. We had the sheriff's office, we had ourselves, we had 2 motorcycle clubs, we had teachers from Tazewell County Public Schools. Also, a big thank you to the Tazewell County Public Schools. They provided a bus for the kids that didn't have transportation. We were scrambling to try to get transportation. Somebody reached out, and I'm not for sure who that was, and they got a school bus for the ones that did not have it belonged to Walmart. Subway provided us the area for the breakfast area. Walmart provided the breakfast. Another big thank you to Walmart. They heard our dilemma. They done a fundraiser in-house and got us $1,000 from the employees. They done their own fundraiser. So we had a great turnout in 3 weeks of help. I want to thank everybody for that.
That's good. Following up on Hankins' deal, I hope council will look at this, or who's on the board. You need to be the chief. Simple as that. He needs to be the chief of police, and he needs to pick an assistant chief. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you play as assistant chief, and you know everything. You know the people in town. They go by the law, and I'm just one council member who wants to see you as the chief of police.
Okay, before adjourning, Todd, you gotta come up and get some parting words, shots.
All right, can I do it from here?
You can if you want.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you very much. The 11 or so years was an incredible journey, and it has been an amazing amount of accomplishments that a lot of them will never surface, you know. I always say, you know, a lot of what keeps the town growing is underground. You know, the water line, sewer line, things that we don't really see every day. But that same disillusion is with a lot that goes on in local government with different projects. But it's been an incredible ride, an amazing staff. I think the morale of staff up until a couple of weeks ago was the highest it's probably ever been. And I know that you got to be willing in life to change and accept change. And, you know, sometimes even change when it's good can be tough to accept. So me and Leanne actually spoke to that level today. But I want to thank everybody, the citizens, the employees, the councils, the mayors that I've worked under here. It's been amazing, and you know, life throws changes at you, and you know, I feel like it's time for me to move on, and you know, the change for me will be good. There's a lot of things going on that I need to take care of, so I really enjoyed it, and who knows, maybe one day I'll be back. I don't know.
Thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
Mayor, if I'm like one thing. I have been here 32 years. I
5 man. You all have some incredibly big shoes to fill in your selection. Choose wisely. I can just say that from my perspective in working as a town attorney for you and for your man. I've been through 5. Todd has by far been the most proactive for the benefit of the town that I've seen in my tenure of 32 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
So, yes, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Got one, need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning, stay so by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, stay so by saying nay. Meeting is adjourned.